Hello everyone, welcome to the webinar on social media marketing with Zoho Social. I'm Ritika from the Zoho Social team and I'm here to help you make the best use of Zoho Social for your social media marketing efforts. Okay, so before we get started, allow me to tell you a bit about myself. I'm Ritika and I'm a product marketer for Zoho Social. I am absolutely passionate about the social media world and I love the various ways one can creatively market themselves, especially in today's day and age where individuals and brands can easily make use of social media and build on everything that the social media world has to offer, where you, as a business, can grow and build healthy relationships with your potential customers. Alright, finally, let's get started. So today, if someone wants to learn about a product or a service, they'll look for information not just on any of the search engines, but also on social media. People trust what their friends recommend or share, and they follow brands they love. Now, as a business, it makes perfect sense that you're there where your customers are. And you're probably even active on some of these social networks, like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. In fact, Pew Research Center conducted a study where they found out that more than 91% of brands are using more than one social media platform. You start realizing the power of social media marketing once you start building a strong presence. And when your business has a social presence on more than one social network, switching between these networks can become difficult or let's just say unproductive. You need the right social media tool to understand and leverage this power. And that's exactly what Zoho Social helps you with. Alright, I know, enough with the boring facts. I actually have a nice little story planned for you all. So let's see how Millie, the owner of Zilker Travels, does all of the social media marketing for her new cafe using Zoho Social. Meet Millie. She spends all day and all night in the kitchen creating the next best cake. But if no one knows about it, it doesn't really matter how great it is, right? So the best way for Millie to promote her cafe in Zilker Travels would be through social media, because in this day and age, that's where all her customers are. So she heads to the new post feature and gets cracking with all her posts about baking. So these are the social networks that are available for your brand. You can select the social networks that you want to post from. Now, one way of publishing your post is by typing in your content. So for example, Millie can say, grab hold of our latest cupcakes. Now let me go ahead and add a couple of hashtags as well. So let's say chocolate, hashtag cupcakes. How do you spell cupcakes? Yeah, okay. And I'm gonna add a couple of images. So you can add multiple images and GIFs as well. So after you're done adding your content and adding your images, go ahead and click on post now and it will go live that instant. Now, if you think that you need some more time to get the content right and publish this particular post, you can save it as a draft and bounce off ideas with your team and work on it later on. Now, another way of posting is to schedule your posts well ahead of time. So you can choose a specific date that you want to schedule on. So let me say Jan 20th and I say 9 a.m. and I hit schedule. Great. So now let's move on to Smart Queue. This is quite an interesting feature. So suppose you don't have a fixed date or a time in mind at which you want your posts to go out. You can rely on Smart Queue. So this feature gives you the best possible dates to publish your posts so that you can derive the maximum engagement from your audience. So sorting it based on engagement will show you its likely reach. And sorting it based on time will give you the next best time to publish. And all of this is based on predictive analytics and data mining from our end. And we also have another feature where you can repeat or let's say republish your posts. So let me give you an example. Millie finds out that there's an event coming up in 2 months where she will have the opportunity to tell people about her new venture. So at this event, she gets to set up a stall and exhibit her awesome cakes. Now, she definitely would like her followers to be reminded about it a few times in the days and months leading up to the event, right? So that's where this feature helps. You can use this to set it as either weekly or monthly. So let me just say weekly, and I choose Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I say repeat until Feb 22nd. So it will repeat this current post until this date. So once her posts go live, people start to engage with her brand, liking her page, her posts, commenting on them, and so on and so forth. She can find them all here under live stream. So this is where you can follow a real-time stream of updates to learn how your audience is engaging with your brand. It will show you various types of social activities such as likes, mentions, follows, replies, shares, and wall posts. So here's when it gets interesting. This isn't just a real-time stream of updates. You can click on any of these social activities to get more information about the person, or if it's a brand, and the kind of social activity they engaged in. That is, which specific post they liked or which post they commented on, and so on. Now suppose Millie notices someone who just started to follow her brand, or let's say liked her tweet. Zoho Social automatically adds this user as a connection. And a connection refers to anybody who interacts with your brand in terms of liking, sharing, or commenting on your posts. And I'll talk about this more in detail soon. Now coming back to live stream, let's say I click on this social activity. Now this will give you a lot more contextual information to work with. You can look at the way the individual has engaged with your brand. So over here it says this is the first time Yatish has engaged with Zilka Travels. You can look at the number of followers, the number of people he's following, and you can directly follow this person from here. You will also find another option that says discuss. What this option means is that you can discuss about this person with your team from this collaborate tab. And I will show you how team collaboration works. Now coming back to this pop-up, there's also something called know more about Yatish. So clicking on this will take you to that specific person's connection profile so that you can see more information about them, like the interactions tab that we have over here. So since Yatish interacted with Zilka Travels just once, we are able to see just one social activity over here. And then you can even look at their social media profile, which is Twitter here, and directly engage with them by liking their tweets, retweeting, or responding to them. Now, suppose Millie has interacted with this particular person on social media and they give her their personal contact number, email ID, or let's just say through continuous interaction, she finds out something important like this user likes chocolate and cupcakes but is allergic to gluten. You can directly input the details in this personal info tab and update it. So let me say Yatish at xyz.com, add a phone number, and add a description saying loves cupcakes, woohoo, but is allergic to gluten, boo-hoo. And you can add all the necessary information in this personal info section so that the next time you interact with them, you have something to lead with. Now, you can also associate their other social profiles to this connection profile. So let me go ahead and click on Associate Facebook. You can associate either from this tab, which is from Connections. It's basically a connections list that shows you a list of everyone who has interacted with your brand in terms of, commenting, sharing, and liking, sending direct messages to you. Or you can choose this tab, which is from Facebook, and search for them on this network. So this way you will definitely be able to see the value that these details provide in helping you grow your customer base. Great, so now that Millie's got her baking posts out, it's time to find out if people like what they're seeing. So she heads to brand health. All the social networks she's connected are here. That's Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and Instagram. She can track the number of followers and active engagers, likes, and see how many people are talking about her brand and about her cupcakes. So this table gives you a snapshot of your brand's social media performance across social networks. And keeping a tab on these metrics can help you understand how people are responding to your social media posts. Now, if you scroll down a bit, you will notice something called recent posts. So all the recently published posts by your brand from the various social networks will pop up here. It could be the same content if you've cross-posted, or it could be different depending on what you post from which social network. And then there's something called details for every post. Now, this is where all the beans will spill. So let's say that Millie was successful in publishing 50 to 100 baking posts or recipe posts and generating interest in her customer base across various social networks. She even decided to promote some of her posts to see their reach. Her intention was to derive some form of engagement, and through this engagement find out what kind of posts are working best with her audience. Even further, find out if her brand was successful in generating leads. So here's where she comes to find out all of this. When you click on details, you get the entire picture. How many likes, comments, shares, retweets, plus ones your posts have gotten, and you can directly respond to them from here. You can also take a look at the basic stats. So there is the total number of likes, the number of clicks, number of people who have shared this post or created stories about it. Now, not only do you get basic stats, but there's also something known as opt-out, where it shows you the number of people who have reported your post or hidden it from the timeline. Also, if you'd like to email this particular post details to your colleagues, you can do that as well from this button here, or you could export it as a PDF or a PNG file. Alright, now coming to the different kinds of views for your posts, we have published posts here. This is where you can find all your published posts, and you can filter this according to social networks and sort this based on date and popularity. So for example, if Millie wants to see the post that has gotten the most engagement on, let's say, Facebook, she can do that by clicking here. Moving on to promoted posts. So all the posts that you promote through paid ads on social networks will be shown here. And I haven't really promoted anything, so that is why this tab looks empty. Now moving on to scheduled posts. Yep, so all the posts that you schedule, you can even filter the different types of scheduled posts. That's custom, bulk scheduled, smart scheduled, and repeat scheduled posts. You can even edit these posts from right here or filter it based on team members. Now, failed posts. Alright, so all of these social networks have certain gates with tokens, and when these tokens expire, that's when posts fail to go out. You will probably have to reconnect your network. Or it could also happen because of publishing duplicate content. So do double check before you publish your posts. And then there are drafts, where you can brainstorm and discuss further about each post idea with your team members. Moving on to the social media calendar. Here, all your scheduled posts will be neatly organized in a calendar format, making it easier for you and your team to manage them. So what can you do with it? Number one, you can schedule and plan for future posts by clicking on this little tiny pencil icon. So planning posts in advance will give you enough time to craft thoughtful posts and engage with your audience better. Next, you can modify and perfect your posts. So let me click on an already existing scheduled post. You can always just go back and tap on any of your scheduled posts to either rework on it or delete it altogether. You can also jump slots to reschedule. So it's very easy to fall into the trap of scheduling too many posts a day, right? As each social media network works differently, you can organize and spread your posts evenly without running the risk of spamming your audience. So all you have to do is simply pick and drop posts across your calendar to make a good content spread for your audience. Now, there may be times when you'd feel like shifting your focus towards posts that matter to you in that very moment. Or maybe you wonder which social network is not getting enough attention. So, for times like these, using the filter in the calendar view can be helpful. So, you can select your criteria based on specific authors, schedule type, and networks. So after you're done selecting your criteria, click apply to see the posts of your choice. Voila. Now coming to Facebook lead ads. Whether you're a retail outlet, a fashion brand, or an automobile company, the integration between Zoho Social and Facebook lead ads will bring great value to you if you use a Facebook ads account. Oh, and yes, if you have a Zoho CRM account as well, it makes it even better. So let's look at what you can do with it. I am going to quickly jump to my slides so I can show you. Alright, so after you're done setting up your lead ads, Zoho Social will automatically pull in all the ads that you're running from that ad account. You will be able to collect every lead you generate from your lead ads in real time. Now, what that means is you no longer have to manually download CSV files from Facebook to view your leads. Also, you can automatically push leads to Zoho CRM and let your sales team work with them and convert them into customers. You can also view accurate numbers and visual data from which you can derive quick insights into how your lead ads are performing. So the number of leads generated, the most engaged demographic for your ads, and the type of devices they are working well on. Now moving on, you can learn more about your leads by associating them with their social profiles on other networks. You can gain context, interact better, and instantly update details about them within Zoho Social. There are also automatic workflow rules within the tool designed specifically to help you with this. So whether someone likes your ad or comments on it, you can enable these rules to automatically convert them into leads or contacts and push them directly into the sales process. Again, I'd like to mention that in order to do all of this, you will have to integrate Zoho Social with Zoho CRM. Now moving on, your efforts would go in vain if you had no clue whether your leads were contributing to your revenue growth or not. And that's why we've made it simpler for you to measure that. So you head to CRM reports from the reports tab to analyze which campaigns, AdWords sets, or ads are generating the maximum number of leads and in turn helping you grow your business. So that's about it for lead ads. Let's jump back to the product. Great. So we also have this feature called Bulk Scheduler where you can schedule large number of posts in advance. So let's say Millie has a vacation plan for the next 2 weeks, but she wants her business to be absolutely consistent on social media and not miss out on engaging with potential customers. So here's when this feature comes in handy. There's a checklist here that you can follow to upload your files. We've created a sample template also for you to upload your content according to the format that's suited for this feature. So you can upload a .csv file or a .xls and you can go ahead and click on schedule. So with this, you can save a lot of time and effort by uploading multiple posts all at once according to your preferred dates. And Zoho Social will take care of the rest. Okay, so now that Millie has published and scheduled her post, she wants to learn more about what's going on in her industry. In fact, Millie has been talking about her participation in the bakery event that's going to be held in New York. She has done her research about some of her competitors, but she would like to take a closer look at some of their social activities or maybe, let's say, the marketing strategies that they're using to promote themselves. So, how can she do that? One way is to Google them all. Another way is to maybe go to each social network and dig in. But the easiest and the most effective way to do this would be through Zoho Social's Monitor tab. So let's see how. You can find all the various things you want to track here by clicking on the plus orange icon. Now let me tell you that every social network has a particular type of column that you or your team members can add. For example, for Facebook, you can add a column where you can view people's posts on your Facebook wall. You can track who is mentioning your brand on Twitter with this column. And for Instagram, you can check hashtag searches, you can look for users, and so on and so forth. So let's say Millie chooses the Instagram hashtag search column because she knows that many of the participants are using the hashtag baking. So with this particular column, she can keep track of all the posts and updates relating to the hashtag baking. She can then scroll through the feed to see how her competitors are promoting their baked goods, or she can also check if there's anyone looking to bulk order cupcakes. So this is for Instagram. Let's try this for Twitter. I say hashtag baking again. There we go. I like what I'm seeing, so I'm gonna go ahead and click on save. So this way you can personalize and add columns that matter most to your business. So in this monitor screen, you can see various columns already added. Now suppose Millie is interested only in her brand at the moment, she will look at this column, Zilker Travels. So all the posts related to the word Zilker and travels will appear in the screen. And you can feel free to discuss any of these posts with your team members by clicking here. So let's say Millie spots an interesting profile or an interesting hashtag in Monitor, and she decides that it's very important that she tracks this particular hashtag. So let me find a hashtag for you. Okay, cool. Let's go with your interview. So all the updates for these social networks as Instagram, Google+, and Twitter will pop up here. And you can go ahead and click on Monitor. So this is possible not just with hashtags, but users as well. So I can engage directly from here, retweet, or comment, and add them to my monitor screen. So you will find this feature across the product. Wherever you are, you will always have some form of context to either start a conversation or build a relationship with them. Now, another interesting feature that's part of this tab, and I'm quite sure you'll be fond of this, is the advanced keyword search for Twitter. So with this, you can filter and narrow down your Twitter keyword search results to focus on only those tweets that are relevant for your business. You can filter based on content, so you can exclude keywords, include retweets, or choose the type of media posts you want to see. You can filter based on people, that is specific users or verified users. And then you have places where you can enter any location to see where your tweets are trending and so on. So after you're done setting your criteria, go ahead and click apply. Also, as long as you're in the Monitor tab, all your saved columns will now automatically show you the number of real-time new posts as an orange badge, right at the top here. So when you click on the badge, it refreshes the column to show you the latest posts and updates specific to that column in Monitor. Moving on, when you click on View Conversation in your Twitter columns, you can see the original tweet that started it all. So the threaded view of these posts will give you more context for every conversation that you choose to take forward. You can directly engage from here, retweet, or respond. So now let's say Millie wants to control what she sees first, the moment she heads to the Monitor screen. So in this section, she can choose to reorder columns by dragging and dropping them. So let me push this up front. There we go. So instead of scrolling through all of these columns to find her most favorite one. Also, reordering will not change the view for all the social users. It only affects your view. So when I drag and drop, it changes only for me. So this way you can monitor a lot of things relevant to you and your industry by adding various kinds of columns. Now coming back to Millie's example, suppose she interacted with a prospective customer from the Twitter keyword search column, that is #baking, and she decides to send her a private message asking about the prices of cupcakes, or maybe wants to just discuss important details about the birthday party and so on. Where would she go then? She goes to the Messages tab. So she can not only engage with her from here, but also keep a tab on the interactions that she's had with Millie's brand. Update her contact information, and if it's a Twitter profile, she can also view their recent tweets from here. So Messages is where you can view private messages that come into your Facebook and Twitter inboxes. You can use this filter over here to view your Facebook or just Twitter messages. Great. So knowing your customer is important. It could create a really good brand image for you, and to further help you with that, we have connections. So like I already mentioned, this refers to anybody who has interacted with your brand across multiple social accounts in terms of liking, sharing, or commenting on your posts, and tweeting or sending direct messages to you. Zoho Social will automatically update your connections list with everyone who interacts with you, and you can see and manage all of them from right here. So let me briefly go over the different views of connections. First up, we have all connections. This refers to everyone who has interacted with your brand. Recently engaged are those who have engaged with your brand very recently. Most engaged are connections who interact with your brand more often than most other connections. Followers are connections who follow your brand on only Twitter and Instagram. And following are connections you or your brand follows on Twitter and Instagram. And you can also keep a tab on your muted and blocked Twitter accounts from here. And if you want to see connections from a specific social network, you can filter and choose from right here. So let's say that Millie's published posts have generated a good amount of engagement with those coming to the event in New York. And Millie's guesses that these people are more engaged with her brand compared to the others. So she goes ahead and clicks on the most engaged connection view and filters the social network to, let's say, Twitter. So by viewing this list, she can choose which connections to directly contact and follow up on. And I've already shown you how to go about the features here, so I won't get into the details again. But do remember that you can find a lot of valuable and contextual information here that'll help your business. Now, at the start of this webinar, I had mentioned about the option to discuss. So let's try that with this connection. Clicking on Discuss will direct you to the Collaborate tab. So over here, you can type your content and tag your team members. So let me say, Lauren, cupcakes baked and ready to be delivered. Woohoo! And I go ahead and click on share. So you can share your thoughts with either everybody who's part of your brand or just with a set of specific individuals with the help of this feature, that's custom share. Now, portal admins and brand admins are selected by default, but you can go ahead and select the users that you would like to share this with. Done. Now, all the conversation threads have a unique label assigned to them. That's ranging from discussions, drafts, posts, connections, or reports. So filtering your feed this way will make it easier for you to identify what you're looking for. You can also glance at your team members' profiles by clicking on the names or the profile icons to see all that they've chosen to share with you. Now going back. Great. So to sum up, you will find the option to discuss across the product. You can brainstorm and come up with awesome content with the help of your team members, update each other about the different things you're working on, share insights that you get from social media, and plan your marketing efforts accordingly. Now, to stay up to date with all the internal discussions, you can click here. That's team notifications. So this way you can be sure to not miss out on any important discussions with your team. Now, speaking of notifications, next to team notifications, we have social media notifications. So whenever someone comments on your post or sends you a message or follows you, all of that will appear in notifications. Alright, so the recipe ends here. Cupcakes parceled and sent out for delivery. What did Millie's customers say? Did they like it? Do the cupcakes taste good or maybe not so good? So how can Millie find out? This is where she comes to know what has worked for her brand and what hasn't. And you can analyze the impact of your social media marketing efforts right here. First up, let's look at the basic stats. So over here, you will find reports for all the social networks that show you stats about how well your brand is performing. How many fans you've gained or lost, how frequently content on your page was viewed, how have you reached your audience, and so on. You can choose what kind of graphical representation of data you'd like to see, whether it's a bar graph or a pie chart. We also have advanced reports or analytics. So these are insights based on the kind of content that you have published. So you can check your social outreach, what kind of content is working best for your business, when best to post, what your connections are saying about your brand, who are your key connections, and so on. Moving on to standard reports. Over here, you can filter and view reports of the social media network of your choice, whether it's Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, Instagram, or Facebook. You can also filter the time frame to view your reports. So it could be past 7 days, past 15 days, past 30 days. And again, if you'd like to discuss this particular report with your team members, you can do that as well from within Zoho Social, or you could export it as a PDF or a PNG file, or send it via email to your colleagues. Now suppose in the weeks leading up to the bakery exhibition, Millie decides to analyze what kind of content is working well with her followers. She can head over here, that is create custom report. And she can choose which stats and analytics she wants to see for which social network. So let me create a report right now to show you. So for Facebook, let's say Millie chooses social outreach. to see her brand's reach in terms of posts published, posts viewed, and so on. For Twitter, she chooses additional stats to get more information about her followers. For LinkedIn, she chooses verticals of my followers to check what kind of background they come from. Moving on to Google Plus, she chooses content that's working best. So from here, she can make out that links, images, and text are working really well. Maybe she could experiment a bit with videos as well. Now moving on to Instagram, she chooses brand performance to check how her brand is doing on Instagram. Now then she gives this report a title. So let's say Zilker Travels Cafe Report number 1. And goes ahead and clicks on save. We also have scheduled reports where you can send the reports that you have customized to your team members either daily, weekly, or monthly. So let me just choose monthly, and I set the time as 9:15 a.m. and I save it. You can also change the file types to either PNG or PDF. And if you'd like to edit, you can do that as well. Add more members or send a private message as well and click on schedule. Or if you'd like to delete this scheduled report altogether, you can do that as well. Oh, and by the way, you can create unlimited reports with Zoho Social. So that's about it for reports. Let's briefly go over how you can set up your brands in Zoho Social. So you go to Setup and click on Brand Settings. Now before we go over the settings, I'd like to mention this. If you want to add more brands to your portal, you can click on this drop down and click on Add Another Brand. And if you've already added brands, you can very easily switch from one brand to another from here, like this. And if you have multiple pages and profiles per social network, you will have to create additional brands and connect each page or profile to that brand. Now, in Zoho Social, you can also have multiple team members managing different brands. Now, let's start with brand information. Simply put, it consists of information about your brand. You can select which link shortener you would want to make a default one. Moving on to social networks. You can view all the social networks your brand is connected to. You can also disconnect a social network anytime you'd like. Going to roles and permissions, you can create new roles for your brand and assign permissions to those roles. For example, all brand admins and users will have all these permissions by default. However, for the other roles, you can choose what they can have access to. Moving on to brand members. Now in Zoho Social, like I mentioned, you can have multiple team members managing different brands. Now as the portal admin, you can invite users, assign roles to them, and you can manage users and settings of all the brands, whereas brand admins can manage users and settings only for that particular brand. Yeah, so this is how you can change roles and assign the social networks that they can manage. And if you'd like to remove them from this particular brand, you can do that as well by clicking on the cross icon over here. Now moving on to notifications. There are 4 types of actions that users can receive email notifications for. That is when a scheduled post goes live on social networks, when a scheduled post fails to go live, when a social network gets disconnected from Zoho Social, and when someone mentions them in a comment or a discussion. And you can also receive notifications from these social networks for these social actions. Now in this tab, All Members, you will be able to see a list of everybody who is part of this portal. And if you'd like to add a particular team member to a new brand, you can do that as well by clicking on plus add and selecting the brands that you'd like to invite them to. There we go. And then there's extra information about your portal settings. Great. So to summarize, we looked at how important it is to build your brand's presence on social media because that's where most of your customers are. You will discover customers that you never knew existed. And in a time where social media does most of the talking, monitoring your social media marketing efforts and engaging with prospects to win them over is exactly why your business can benefit from using a complete social media management tool. I'd like to mention that you can also generate leads from the Zoho Social mobile app, and it's available on iOS and Android phones. Great! Feel free to get in touch with us anytime. If you enjoyed this webinar or if you'd like to share your experience with Zoho Social, tweet to us at Zoho or use the hashtag Zoho Social, and I will find you and respond to you from my monitor screen. You can also write to us at support@zohosocial.com. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you have a lovely day.